Let's ask Arvind Sanger that. Arvind, hi, good morning. Good to have you on the show. Seems like everything is set for tomorrow's tariff announcement, and now seems like an eventuality. Markets also have begun pricing that in.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure that we're confirmed that it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow or Wednesday, right? So it's not yet assured which day it will be. But in the next, let's say, 36, maybe in the next 36 hours, I expect we will have greater clarity on what's coming in terms of the tariff regime. So let's separate it into two things. The tariffs that have been announced on steel, aluminum, auto, and now pharma are sectoral tariffs. And then there are the country tariffs or the blanket tariffs across all. So I don't see a rollback imminent in the sectoral tariffs. Where I think there is much more room for negotiations and for hopefully much less bad outcomes would be in the country tariffs, where he says, okay, you put tariffs on my stuff, I'll put tariffs on your stuff. And then everybody agrees that we'll, kind of normalize those. So I think that the ones that I worry about more, A, there's uncertainty, but B, these sectoral tariffs may stay longer, these country tariffs may not. But in the meantime, markets are going to be yo-yoing around and sectors are going to be yo-yoing around. So I think this is a time to stay somewhat cautious, nimble, and not put all the chips on the table.
So Arvind, what happens next now? I mean, tomorrow the cat's going to be out of the bag, if I may use that phrase, just to talk about tariffs. What happens after that then? I mean, once the cat is out of the bag, will the cat jump?
Well, look, at the end of the day, you could argue that once the cat is out of the bag, the bad news is known, then the market can start to evaluate winners and losers and go up again. But the questions then become, do others retaliate? Does it become a ratcheting? So, this is game theory now as to what comes next. Is there a retaliation? Is there negotiation to bring the tariffs back to normal for both sides? How will this play out? And this is something that will create a lot of uncertainty, both in businesses and in consumers and global investors. So I think that, as you were saying earlier, I'm not sure in April we're going to be able to declare victory unless President Trump surprises us with very benign tariff outcomes. So my assumption is there'll be negotiations and there'll be adjustments as we go along. But I think President Trump is trying to go after his long-held belief that somehow the rest of the world is taking advantage of the U.S. and tariffs will fix that problem. And I, along with most investors, economists around the world, don't think tariffs are a magic wand. But let's see how it plays out and how people take an approach. I think India is taking an intelligent approach. Rather than talking about it in retaliation, it's talking about figuring out where it can lower tariffs without too much damage to Indian economy. So I think that's the question. It may end up being, country by country or sector by sector, trying to evaluate what happens. And so I don't think we get all clear signal. I'm somewhat skeptical that we'll get an all clear signal or great clarity that will be known once Trump rolls out his tariffs in the next 24, 36 hours.
Well, yeah, Arvind, it's actually tomorrow for us. Remember, we're a day ahead of you. So, yeah, Wednesday, the Rose Garden in Washington at 3 p.m. is when the tariff announcements are going to happen. But tell me, Arvind, for India watchers or India market investors, what should be the positioning like? We've already had a steep correction. We're already rebounding. The FII flows are back into the country. Should Indian investors be in a little bit of a wait and watch mode? Wait for the froth to settle down, see how the Indian government retaliates, and then take those sectoral calls? Or do you think we've bottomed out for good?
Well, certainly, if you're looking at domestic-facing sectors, you should be focused as an investor on valuations and where things are attractive. Because most of the domestic-facing, and India has got a large service and domestic-facing economy that is not as impacted by the export. And the other good news from an India standpoint is I don't think President Trump is focused too much on the services sector. So to the extent that Indian IT is not affected by it, pharma may be, but IT may not be. then those become sectoral places to hide out, although I think IT has its own challenges with AI. But at least from a tariff standpoint, it's not at risk. So I think that, one doesn't have to wait till Wednesday to buy everything, because even Tuesday, your time, India time, I'm not sure by the market hours we'll know what the tariffs are, because by 4 o'clock tomorrow evening, will still be, middle of the night, Wednesday morning in US time. So in any case, 24, 36, 48 hours, it really doesn't matter. The reality is that the tariff situation might create, in my opinion, buying opportunities in sectors that are sold off, even though they have nothing to do with the tariffs. So to us, those are the most important ones to take advantage of. And the others where tariffs are in play, we want to be a little more patient to understand how things will play out.
Okay, Arvind, we'll chat again soon. Let's see what actually transpires tomorrow. But good speaking with you today.